professional crossroads. The delicate balance we had painstakingly constructed began to unravel during a particularly high-profile merger project. Alex's firm had been hired to lead the financial restructuring of a major corporation, placing him at the center of a whirlwind of board meetings, investor presentations, and media appearances. The pressure mounted exponentially when it became clear that my company would be handling the marketing and public relations aspects of the transition. Suddenly, our carefully compartmentalized worlds collided in a spectacular display of professional entanglement. At first, we tried to maintain our usual discretion. Boardroom meetings became exercises in studied indifference, our eyes avoiding each other while our minds replayed countless intimate moments shared in those very same spaces after hours. The irony wasn't lost on us. The same conference rooms where we had made passionate love now hosted tense discussions about synergy and shareholder value. During these meetings, Alex adopted an almost exaggerated formality, addressing me as Mr. Carter with clinical detachment that cut deeper than any angry words could have. The strain manifested in subtle ways. Alex began arriving at the train station later, often slipping into his seat just as the doors were closing. Our morning conversations dwindled to perfunctory exchanges about project timelines and deliverables. The physical distance between us grew metaphorical, with Alex choosing seats further down the carriage, surrounded by colleagues who eagerly sought his attention. I watched as he effortlessly slipped into his corporate persona, charming clients and impressing executives with the same confidence that had once drawn me to him. The breaking point came during a critical presentation to the board of directors. As Alex stood at the podium, delivering a flawless analysis of market projections, I noticed something that made my stomach churn: the unmistakable silhouette of a woman's hand resting possessively on his shoulder. Rachel Bennett, a rising star in his firm and daughter of a prominent board member, had inserted herself into our professional orbit with alarming speed. Her perfectly manicured nails tapped rhythmically against Alex's suit jacket as she nodded approvingly at his every word. Their chemistry was undeniable, and it wasn't just professional. During coffee breaks, I observed them sharing inside jokes and intimate glances that mirrored the early days of Alex's and my own relationship. The worst part was how natural it all seemed. How easily Alex adapted to this new dynamic, laughing at Rachel's comments and leaning into her space with the same ease he once reserved for me. Each interaction felt like a deliberate performance, designed to showcase their compatibility to anyone watching. The impact on our personal relationship was devastating. Our stolen moments became fewer and farther between, replaced by hurried text messages and canceled plans. When we did manage to meet, the conversations lacked their former intimacy, focusing instead on safe topics like work projects or mutual acquaintances. The physical connection that had once been so powerful now felt strained, as if Alex was holding back a part of himself that he couldn't risk sharing anymore. His excuses grew more elaborate: late nights at the office, weekend retreats with clients, family obligations that conveniently aligned with our usual meeting times. Most painful was the realization that Alex seemed to be thriving in this new arrangement. His career trajectory accelerated dramatically, with promotions and prestigious assignments coming his way at an unprecedented rate. The same qualities that had drawn me to him, his ambition, his adaptability, his charm, now worked to propel him further away from me and closer to a future that didn't include us. During rare moments of honesty, he would acknowledge the unfairness of the situation, but his eyes would dart toward Rachel's office as he spoke, betraying where his true focus lay. The professional environment that had once provided cover for our relationship now served as its executioner. Colleagues who had previously been oblivious to our connection began noticing the change, commenting on Alex's newfound dedication and his perfect match with Rachel. The office grapevine buzzed with speculation about their future, painting a picture of corporate success and social acceptance that stood in stark contrast to the shadowy existence Alex and I had shared. Each rumor, each approving nod from senior management, drove another nail into the coffin of our relationship. Even our morning commutes, once sacred spaces of connection, became tainted by this new reality. Rachel would occasionally join Alex on the train, sitting in my usual seat and engaging him in animated conversation about industry trends and social events. Watching them together, I realized that Alex had found someone who could offer him everything I couldn't: legitimacy, social acceptance, and a clear path to professional advancement. The man who had once sought refuge in my arms now seemed to find fulfillment in a world that demanded he leave pieces of himself behind. Confrontation and revelation. The confrontation occurred on a rainy Tuesday morning, the kind where the sky wept endlessly and the train windows blurred with streaks of water. I had been watching Alex and Rachel exchange easy banter in the seat across from me, their laughter cutting through the morning quiet like a knife. Something inside me snapped. Perhaps it was the way Alex's hand rested casually on Rachel's knee, or how his eyes crinkled with genuine amusement at her jokes. Whatever it was, I found myself standing abruptly, my briefcase falling to the floor with a thud that silenced their conversation. "Alex," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "We need to talk. Now." The authority in my tone surprised even myself, but there was no room for negotiation. Several passengers looked up from their newspapers and phones, sensing the drama unfolding before them. Alex's face drained of color as he recognized the determination in my stance, while Rachel's expression shifted from confusion to mild irritation at the interruption. Without waiting for a response, I turned and walked toward the connecting door between carriages, knowing he would follow. The narrow space between train cars provided a temporary sanctuary from prying eyes, though the rhythmic swaying of the moving train made our confrontation feel even more precarious. When Alex joined me, closing the door firmly behind him, the noise of the tracks filled the silence between us. "What the hell is going on?" I demanded, my voice rising above the din. "You can't keep doing this, leading two lives, stringing both of us along. I deserve better than this, and frankly, so does she." The words tumbled out faster than I could moderate them, fueled by weeks of pent-up frustration and heartache. Alex ran a hand through his disheveled hair, his usual composure cracking under the weight of my accusations. "You think I don't know that?" he shot back, his voice tight with emotion. "Do you have any idea how many nights I've lain awake, trying to figure out how to make this right? But it's not as simple as choosing between you and her, isn't it?" I countered, my voice breaking slightly, "because from where I'm standing, it looks like you've already made your choice. The late nights, the canceled plans, the way you look at her." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to continue. "I thought what we had was special, Alex. I thought we were building something real. But now I'm starting to wonder if I was just convenient. A secret you could keep hidden away while pursuing your perfect corporate life." The pain in Alex's eyes was unmistakable, but it didn't soften my resolve. "You don't understand," he pleaded. "Rachel represents everything I've been working toward: the respect of my peers, the approval of my family, a future that doesn't require constant hiding. With you, I have to be careful about every touch, every glance, every word. But with her—" His voice trailed off, but the implication hung heavy in the air. "And what about us?" I pressed, feeling the walls closing in around us. All those mornings on the train, the nights we spent talking about our dreams, the way you said you loved me, was all of that just a lie? "No," Alex exclaimed, reaching out to grasp my arm. "God, no. Every moment with you has been real, more real than anything I've experienced with her. But loving you comes with consequences I'm not sure I'm strong enough to face. My father's health is declining, and he still doesn't know about me. The partners at work are watching my every move, waiting for me to slip up. And Rachel, he sighed heavily. She genuinely cares about me, and I care about her too, just not in the way she deserves. The train hit a rough patch of track, causing us both to stumble against the wall. For a moment, we stood there, mere inches apart, the truth hanging between us like a fragile thread. So what happens now? I asked quietly, the fight draining from my voice. Do we keep pretending that this twisted triangle can somehow work? Do we sacrifice everything we have for the sake of appearances? Alex's response came slowly, each word weighed and measured. I don't know, he admitted, but I do know that I can't keep hurting both of you like this. Something has to change, and soon. I just need time to figure out how to untangle this mess without destroying everything I've built. Including us, the rest of the journey passed in tense silence, each of us retreating to separate corners of the train. When we arrived at Grand Central, Alex exited with Rachel, their professional masks firmly in place once more. I watched them disappear into the crowd, knowing that our relationship had reached a critical juncture. The choice before us was stark and unforgiving, to continue existing in this limbo of half-truths and stolen moments, or to face the consequences of choosing authenticity over convenience. As I stepped off the train, the rain still falling steadily outside, I realized that whatever decision Alex ultimately made would redefine not just our relationship, but the very core of who we were as individuals.